Welcome. We're back. Another day in the market. Hope everybody's doing well. We're gonna get right into it. Crypto, stocks, everything's going crazy. There's a lot going on. So let's recap everything from today. We'll talk about how I'm feeling about tomorrow and the rest of the week and so on. So we'll get started with crypto, then we'll talk about the overall stock market, then I'll talk about some swings. We had a couple nice day trades today. I'll go over those and just give my thoughts overall going into tomorrow. So hopefully everybody can get prepared for Wednesday. And let's start off with Bitcoin, which bounced up today about 3%, which is nice to see. I think we charted, oh my gosh, go back to last night's stream. I don't remember exactly where it was last night, but go back to last night's stream. I charted this exact level, 36.3K roughly on the 4-hour. Bounced pretty much perfectly off of that, and now you're trying to break out of this wedge we also drew last night. So the 4-hour bullish variables that I talked about last night are currently playing out. It's leading to a short-term bounce. On the daily, you still have a lot of work to do. You still have a lot of work to do. As long as you're under 40K, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but we'll see what happens. And that's really it for Bitcoin right now. Nothing else that gives you a major edge on the daily that I can see clearly. Litecoin also bounced off of the support zone, which is nice to see. We talked about this last night. You just want to hold above it. It's that simple for Litecoin. No need to complicate things. And also Ethereum. So look, I mean, crypto's bounced in interesting areas. We talked about a lot of these areas last night on stream. Ethereum, go back and watch the stream from last night. I said look for that previous supply line to flip into a demand line potentially. You pretty much tapped it and then bounced. So 3% day for Ethereum. It's interesting. The one thing I will say for a lot of these is you kind of have these like X, A, B, C, D formations developing, but you're not really deep enough for any PCZ. So who knows, if those end up playing out fully, you could sell off a little bit more, but go up higher after selling off a little bit more. So we'll see what happens. And that's really it for crypto. Let's see how crude oil did today. These are light crude oil futures. Looks like just a volatile day, up, down, pretty much closed sideways. So we can get right into stocks, I guess. The S&P 500 can't be surprised. Okay, can't be surprised with the price action today. It makes all the sense in the world. Currently, we're at very, very important areas across the board. Your S&P 500 is testing its major support zone, your final major support zone, for a long time. This whole entire move from like here to here, you really did not create any strong supports between 360 and like 420. You didn't really create the strongest of supports in that run over there. You never really had consolidation. You kind of went straight up. So you do not want to re-enter these areas. That's when you could see a real bear market. This box that I just created over here, this is bear market territory, at least midterm. So you just want to stay above that. As long as you do that, you're okay. But we still have that potential head and shoulders. You still have the hidden bearish divergence I started warning you all about last week. We'll see what happens. However, today you actually bounced like really perfectly off of your same lows from like October 4th, which is pretty interesting. So you did have a bounce towards the end of the day when Biden started talking, the market started bouncing. But 1 hour time frame is looking pretty interesting. We'll get down to that in a second. It's interesting. A lot of this makes perfect sense technically speaking. A lot of this is what I've already brought up. We can go take a look at the daily on the other ETFs and indices. The QQQ, same thing. You've got the hidden bearish divergence, but you are testing your final major support zone. Whereas if you break this, you don't have much until like 304, maybe a little bit over here, like 316 from this low. But again, if you break under these major support levels you're currently testing, you could see very, very quick drops in the market. And you're already in a short-term downtrend. So it wouldn't even be like that would be surprising. But as long as you're above them, which you are for right now, by a few points, you're okay. And it could even, I'm not saying this is the bottom because I don't know what the future is, but if you do hold these areas, obviously in hindsight, it would be the bottom. And these are the only areas that technically would make sense to me. You'd have official corrections across the board for most of the major indices. So, this is the technical make or break area. We've been talking about getting down to these levels for weeks now, and we're finally at these areas that we've been waiting to test. So now we just got to see how we react to these levels. news could make or break the market as well at these levels. We could have good news that helps us bounce here, create double bottoms on the daily for a lot of different stocks in the overall market, or vice versa. We could have bad news that comes out, which creates a breakdown from our major supports. ARK ETF getting closer and closer to that $61 level I've been telling you all about, the high before the COVID crash, and it back tested it in June of 2020. Still looking to see a test of that level. You have confirmed hidden bearish divergence as of today, so we'll see if it does eventually test that level, and you're in a longer term falling wedge. But until you break out of it, I'm bearish on the ARK ETF. Whenever you break out of this trend line, I mean, I could easily flip to bullish, but you're still in it for right now. And then the Russell 2000, you can see all the other major ETFs and indices, they've pretty much confirmed the hidden bearish divergence. The Russell's only now developing it, so it's not really sold off as much as the others, which is actually really interesting. I don't know how the percentages work, but you could see most of the other indices are testing their lows from January, right? They're getting close to it. Not necessarily like the wick lows, but kind of like your candle close lows. QQQ pretty much perfectly tested your same exact low from January. The ARK ETF, I think you made a new low. You did make a new low. So you can see the Russell's actually not even really sold off that much compared to the others. It's not even down in those areas yet. It's just kind of being really slow. It just looks like a lot of small caps are just doing nothing really. You know, they're still bleeding, which is what they've been doing for almost a year now. But they're not really like, you know, extremely selling off, which I guess could be a good sign that most of like the deep selling on all those names could be over. We'll see. But as long as you're under 205, it's hard to be bullish on the Russell until you create like new variables that could be perceived as bullish. So that's pretty much it for the daily. The NASDAQ looks the same as the others. I see the support zone around 12.8K to 13.1K for the NASDAQ. And that's how the daily is looking to me for the overall market. Wanted to bring something up. Okay, so let's go on to lower time frames and talk about all the price action. Let's go over to this channel. So if you were in the Discord, you got a very good breakdown of the market today, if I do say so myself. That's all you have to do is be in the Discord. So this was 2 o'clock. We had already been selling off in the morning, and at 2 o'clock I said, here we go, final major supports are being tested, and this was your exact session low. I don't know if you can see it, but it was 334 on the QQQ and 426 on the SPY. Literally shared this at the exact session lows of today. I think like 20 minutes later, Biden started speaking, and you had a very, very nice bounce off the lows. I want to take a look at the QQQ actually, and we're going to take a look at the 1 hour. So you perfectly bounced off of your lows from January on the QQQ, and now you're looking very interesting across the board on lower time frames, where you're finally seeing, at least on the 1 hour charts. The daily charts, they still look macro bearish to me until you start seeing some life, but on the 1 hour charts, you're actually starting to flip bullish. And I think this already started last Friday, but we had all the news come out over the weekend and all the volatility with futures coming into today. Because I was sharing a bunch of intraday charts on Friday that did look pretty interesting to me, but like up at these areas. So yeah, now across the board, you're getting very interesting variables on the 1 hour. So you can take a look at this close to an alternate bat harmonic pattern. You've got 3 bounces now off this demand line in this down sloping channel, which is now confirmed. You have 5 touches overall. Triple classic bullish divergence potentially on the MACD. You had a bullish pin bar candle off the low. You have multiple variables. This is a strong argument for a low risk, potentially high reward scenario, as long as your stop is obviously under these lows with, you know, some sort of a comfort room for any whipsawing, but that's not financial advice. But that's good. We do have this. Futures are green as well. I mean, you're up 0.5% on S&P futures, 0.8% on Russell and NASDAQ futures. So that's looking good. So 1 hour charts look good. I think these are pretty nice variables. Even on like the 5 minute, if we go to even lower time frames, you're getting close to like testing breakouts. You tried to for a little bit, but you didn't really hold it into the close. Testing breakouts of these downtrending channels we've been in since the 16th of February, which was last Wednesday. So almost exactly a week ago, we've been in this downtrend. I think we had FOMC minutes last Wednesday, and that's kind of what really led to this major sell-off, at least at first. Then we had also with Russia and Ukraine. So this downtrend, we've like extreme downtrend. I don't know how to put it like that, but in the short term at least, you're finally testing at least a linear breakout of that downtrend. It doesn't mean the downtrend's over for this little leg down, but I'm just saying you're testing a breakout. That could mean nothing. That could mean the bottom, who knows? But across the board, you can chart these on your 5 minutes. You can see you're pretty close to retesting that tomorrow if you have a green day. If you gap up, you're probably going to be gapping above those supply lines. You tried to do it today into the close, and then the bears just regained control. right before about like the final half an hour of the day. So those are your lower time frames for the market, and that's really the price action that we're seeing. I think right now is a time where we're getting an answer finally. We really haven't had an answer based on technicals in a long time because it's just been so 50-50, but now based on how we react to the current levels we're testing, you could get your answer for the next few weeks, unless some crazy news comes out, which who knows. But yeah, pretty interesting. Also, if you were watching the stream, like I think it was the stream I did on February 14th, which must have been, was that last Monday? If you were watching the stream last Monday on February 14th, I showed all of you this, or the Friday before that, which was February 11th, or the 12th. No, it was the 11th, yeah. February 11th, we're talking 11 days ago. All of this was kind of apparent to me. It looked pretty clear. If we go back over here, you can see right here on this day, February 11th, I sent this message in the Discord saying this plan is pending confirmation and could definitely change. But my current idea was to play oversold low time frames for a bounce at the beginning of last week, which we did see up until Wednesday. And then after that, we had a pretty rough sell-off between, this is Thursday, Friday, and then today, Tuesday. So you had your short-term bounce, you rejected those previous support areas. We can take a look at this a little bit closer. Those previous support areas flipped into resistance, just like I said over here. But switched to puts on a retest of previous support and the 200 moving average. You also had that in the mix as well, which is this yellow line. So right on, oh, did not mean to do that. Okay, right on this day over here, you started selling off, and there you go. It was pretty clear. I mean, you had a lot of weakness in the market. It looked like a dead cat bounce, and the next area for you to test was down over here. So this is kind of how I was lining things up on February 11th, and literally this is what happened. Short-term bounce, retest, flip into resistance, and then dump to 426, which is what we're now testing. So now we're at the point where we have to see, you know, what the reaction to this will look like. And that's really it. That's my overall thoughts on the market. I'll be back in 1 second. So taking a look at the VIX, you actually got back up to that $31 level we were talking about last night. It looks like you pulled back from it intraday. I mean, very, very clearly. This is the first like real big red day for the VIX. And I'd say probably since February 15th, which is interesting to see. Let's take a look at the 1 hour chart. So we see these high lows that we were talking about, and now you're developing some resistance. It's not working. In this little zone over here. So this is probably what you want to stay under if you're a bull. Right there, 32, 33. That's the zone you want to stay under. Otherwise, you could run up all the way to 38 to test that. So this is probably just going to line up with this same or the opposite zone for the S&P. Right, the S&P has this zone of support to the downside, and then on the flip side, you have the VIX, which on the 1 hour has this zone of resistance. So you want to look out for both of those, see how they react to each level if they do test them. Apart from that, let's take a look at gold, which looks like it pulled back a little bit today. Nothing really technical that there is to talk about on that. The Hang Seng Index, whoa, it doesn't look like it's open right now, but the 22nd was today, down 3%. It's looking like this might be the same candle. I feel like this was the same candle yesterday. I'm not sure. So that's that. And then finally, also we were looking at this last night, which is the Russian index. So interesting price action. Remember we talked about this huge 1204 level on the RTS. You fell under it for a little bit yesterday, and then the bulls rallied up into the close and closed just at it. And then today for the Russian index, I don't even really know what this is tracking, to be honest. We just found it last night, but for this yesterday, or for this today, you sold off all the way down to 1076 at one point and rallied all the way back up here. So, you know, you spent both yesterday and today under this important support, but both days you were able to close above the support, which is very, very interesting. So if it can close a third day, a fourth day, that would be very, very interesting, because if it's a load, hopefully the stream's not lagging, because it's pretty laggy on TradingView right now. We know this is such a big historical level, so we'll see what happens. Apart from that, the dollar probably still going sideways. It is. And that's really it for the overall market. Nothing too crazy apart from all of that. Yeah, I'm getting some notifications that it's a little bit laggy. Hopefully it looks fine. So that's the overall market. Now let's go over some of the swings. Fisker pulled back 3% today. This one already hit the first target for a 23% gain. Same thing as last night. Go back and watch the analysis. Nothing's really changed. You pull back a little bit more. Under 1220 is not great. That's a very important level that you want to be above. You can see what's support here and resistance here. Now you're back under it, so it's your resistance. But overall, you probably just want to hold above this green demand line. So BABA's getting close, or it's pretty much testing its make or break area. So this is kind of the final support area for this long-term swing. It's testing it. So the last 3-4 times you were at this area, you were able to bounce off it. Hopefully the 5th time is a charm and you can fill these upside gaps and get out of here, but who knows with everything going on. So that's that. And then the Lucid also, this one, little laggy, looks fine. Okay. Lucid, we talked about this huge level, 25.75. It broke that level today. Did also close under that level, but it did close above the stop. So it's hanging on by a thread. You're still kind of around the PCZ of the Gartley. There was some news about like recalls today, and obviously the market was just super red, so didn't have a great day. This one's hanging on by a thread, so swings are not doing too hot across the board. We had a couple nice swings in the last couple of weeks. We had Fisker, obviously. We had AMC for those of you that are in premium, but it's really tough to swing in this environment. So where have we been making the money? In the options. We're going to go over 2 options trades. I alerted 2 today, 1 in premium, 1 outside of premium. First one I alerted was Tesla, and this, I don't remember exactly where I alerted it. We can just take a look. So it was 10:09 a.m. and it was a very quick and easy trade for those who took profits. But 10:09 a.m. these contracts were $3.30, and at 10:22 a.m., which is 13 minutes later, the contracts were at $4.70. So a nice 40% move in 13 minutes. So I initially shared it, it looks like, right off of this low. We actually even had a nice trade on Friday. I didn't even go over this last night, but on Friday we had a nice little 50% in the afternoon for Facebook. I forgot to mention that on stream, but yeah, I was looking at this 15-minute harmonic. Looks like Gartley here. It actually did invalidate that PCZ later in the day, which we can look at, but let's try and go back in time. So let's go over to the 15-minute. And look for the candle. So we got to go up here. I said 10 o'clock, right? It's 22nd. So this is pretty much the move. Like, you could barely even see it on the 15-minute. This was the move right over here. On the 5-minute, looks a lot clearer. So on the 5-minute, this was pretty much the move right there. So it was pretty easy. I alerted it right in these areas when it was testing the VWAP, and then it ran into supply line, and I even said that it was testing the supply line when it did get there. I said testing supply line at 10:22, and it rejected. It was a very clear rejection of the supply line, which was seen on this 5-minute candle, and that was that. And then it sold off. I don't know if it got to the demand line, it didn't, and then rallied into the end of the day. So that was the Tesla 40% move. And then also outside of premium, all you have to do to get these is just be in the Discord. The link is in the description. It's free to join. There was the DraftKings trade. So in the Swinglers channel, I alerted DraftKings calls at $1.22. These went up to like $1.97 at the high of the day, which is about a 60% move. I shared these at 10:44 in the morning, and this one took a while. It was a pretty long day trade. It took like till the end of the day almost. But the initial idea was a 5-minute back test of this flag breakout, 15-minute bullish shark. I hit the PCZ, bounced off of it, and then a 1-hour bullish engulfing candle, which I showed with this green arrow. Also, the RSI was oversold, and the MACD was losing negative momentum. So that was my idea. And you started off with back testing. Like, it was really weird. Like 3 or 4 times, DraftKings was starting to like inch up intraday, and then the QQQ just like pulled back like 0.25% on like one 5-minute candle. It happened like 3 different times. It was really frustrating. This trade could have went much quicker, but the market was just very volatile with all the news going on. So, you know, it just started flagging out the whole entire day. I said it still looked fine to me. The calls were kind of in profit for most of the day, about like a few percent, just bull flagging. And it tested a breakout in the afternoon, and it finally gave the move. So very, very technical, great move on DraftKings today. And you could see actually if we look all the way up over here, I charted all these resistances. 1891 was the upper resistance I charted, and that was your high of the day. You perfectly ran up, tested 1891 over here, and then you pull back a little bit into the close. So yeah, that's DraftKings. Still could be, you know, watch for tomorrow, or for those who overnighted. Still could provide more profits as long as, you know, you manage your risk. I mean, you have this whole entire zone over here. There's a gap fill all the way up at like 2190. So this still could have a lot of potential even if this 15-minute shark plays out. And then even on higher time frames, you're double bottoming at the PCZ of a shark. But again, these calls are weekly, so you're not going to be really able to play this larger move. So yeah, really good day for the day trades. Also, we are 10, it's in the title of the stream, I forgot to mention it. We're now 10-0 in the last 10 options ideas. So between premium, 7 shared in premium and 3 shared outside of premium, the last 10 ideas I've shared probably between like last week and this week, I'd assume. Yeah, this is actually exactly that. So pretty much like the last week of alerts, every single option alert has been green, which is pretty cool, I guess. We've already been used to not necessarily perfect results, but pretty good results. I think we had like an 84% win rate in the last month or so. I forgot exactly what it was. I shared a tweet about it. You can go find it. I don't remember, but if you've been paying attention, you know how things have gone. So that's really it for the day trades today. Going into tomorrow, I already gave you the breakdown for the market on lower time frames going into tomorrow. I think you could just watch these 5-minute downtrending channels I showed you earlier in the stream. Just see how they react to them, and then obviously on those larger time frames, take a look at how the QQQ reacts with this inflection zone that you see on your screen, and also how the SPY reacts with this inflection zone you see. It'll load on your screen as well. Okay, so tomorrow's could be a very interesting day. We're going to see how react to some make or break areas. We have some very interesting 1-hour charts or low time frame charts. We'll see how all that looks tomorrow. Make sure to hit the like button if you didn't already. Hit the subscribe button. Let's get up to at least 20 likes. I know I've been kind of messing everything up going live, you know, at different times, like every single day. It kind of throws off the flow of things, but that's just kind of what I have to do for right now. Yeah, we're not doing timestamps. Our Medi can't do timestamps this week either. So in general, I'm just gonna try and keep the streams a little bit shorter this week, to like maybe like 40 minutes or so that people who missed the stream can just probably rewatch the whole entire thing. 40 minutes isn't too long, I guess. So I'm gonna try and keep like 40 minutes. So we do have time for some ticker requests we'll get into in a second. Let me take a look at the chat because I really haven't yet. But yeah, so start dropping tickers in the chat if you want me to take a look at some stocks, cryptos, anything that's on TradingView. That's not an OTC, or you know the rules if you've been around for a while. CLOV bounced after hours. Oh, we gotta look at CLOV. I'm gonna look at CLOV and then we're going to do ticker requests. But you could drop the tickers in the chat right now if you have any. What did Medic Vibe do with his birthday crypto? I'm not sure what that means. Okay. Lincoln, thanks for the nice comment. CLOV. Earnings tomorrow, so really not much of any point looking at the technicals. You've got confirmed hidden bearish divergence on the daily, but you're at the apex of a wedge. Go back to last night's stream. The technicals really haven't changed. Let me see if I can find the estimates for tomorrow. Also, Clover helped to present at Citi's 2022 Virtual Healthcare Conference on the 24th, which should be Thursday. So we are looking for last quarter of 2021. I'm seeing an estimated EPS of negative 0.26. I saw it on 2 different websites. Q3 2021, you had an EPS of negative 0.08, and the forecast was negative 0.31. So it was a 74% surprise last quarter, or last quarter that they reported. So see what happens. Yeah, I'm seeing negative 0.26 on 3 different websites. So I believe that is the number. Go check for yourself. And I think Seeking Alpha, I really don't like Seeking Alpha, but I think they have a revenue estimate. Revenue estimate of 408 million from Seeking Alpha, but that's Seeking Alpha, so we'll see what happens. All right, good luck to everybody in CLOV for tomorrow. We'll see what happens. I already get my thoughts on earnings. Like last week, I talked about how, you know, if it's a bad earnings, like only going down like 50 more cents would be like a 25% move down, when 50 cents up here used to be like nothing. It's just a very weird area, I guess. So we'll do tick requests. Silver Shrimp, calm down. There's no issues here. SoFi in space. Didn't you gift your friend crypto? Yeah. That's what you're talking about? It wasn't that much. But hopefully, I believe it was Link. I think it was Link. I believe it went up like a lot, like right after, but I don't know what he did. IPOF, I mean, I don't know what you want me to do on the chart here, right? This is not something that's really TA oriented right now. It's catalyst, fundamental driven, and you know, I don't know if they have any announced merger or anything, but just focus on the catalyst for right now. The levels are charted. You already broke a supply line. It's that simple. Obviously $10 NAV support. That's literally it. It's not that complicated. Nvidia testing 200 moving average, just like Tesla on the daily as well. They look pretty similar. You can see it's back testing previous resistance and 200 moving average, and so is Tesla pretty much. It's in this inflection zone, testing 200 moving average. So they're make or break areas just like the S&P and the NASDAQ. That's really it. Got some 1 hour classic bullish divergence on Nvidia. That's confirmed. Disney down 2% today. Ooh, if you're in premium, I sent this pretty much around the PCC if I'm not mistaken, maybe a little bit higher than the PCC, but this bat's playing out nicely. Also fill the gap over here. It's now close to filling this gap, a lot of different gaps. I honestly look at this as just like support 130, resistance 160. I mean, there's so many different levels. You can really get caught up in trying to look at each one. Like I just focus on this part of it. This is kind of your range trade now. I just focus on what direction it breaks next. But levels are charted there. DLO, it's already charted. That's literally it. There's actually, you can chart this level as well, and that. So those are your levels on DLO. SoFi, all time, close to all time low, cents away from all time low. So, and you're still in this wedge. It's similar to the ARC to me, you know. If you like this fundamentally, long-term dollar cost averaging could be a way to play it. Not financial advice. I'm not. That's your choice. I'm just, you know, giving for a lot of these. We talked about this last night. We called them the crash stocks. For the ones you like fundamentally, long-term dollar cost averaging is an option. If you choose to do so, you do whatever you want with your own money. But also the other way to look at it is same thing, just like the ARK ETF, which represents a lot of stocks that look just like this. You can just wait until they break the supply lines and start showing higher lows. You know, yeah, you might miss like 10-15% off the bottom, but if they're going to run all the way back up to their highs, like you're talking like hundreds of percents on some of these potentially, if they do make that run over the next few years. So I think it's more about patience and precision than, you know, just trying to randomly go around and, you know, trying to pick the bottom everywhere, or you just average it out, you know, whatever you want to do. And then space, kind of soared higher. I think they had earnings today. TradingView, which has been a little bit off sometimes, says it was a 10% surprise on EPS and a 57% miss on revs. But, you know, in this market, you could look at the numbers all you want, but it's the reaction that matters. We've seen so many good earnings on paper be dumps for stocks and vice versa. 795 was at 782, so it looks like it went up a little bit after hours, if that's right. 4 hour looks, let me go back to regular hours, but in general, if you break the supply line, which you could even take a look at on the 1 hour chart, you know, that could open up like a short-term trade. This little channel over here, and we could just try like the lower time frames, something like that, I guess. And then your higher time frames, maybe just replace this down over here, support around like 761, and if that breaks your previous all-time low. All right, so that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you for watching the stream. Make sure to hit the like button if you don't already. Hit the subscribe button. You just got to get through these times, be patient, and that's how I'm looking at everything. So have a good night. Join the Discord, links in the description. Check out all the links in the description. Watch the free course. Everything else is in the description. And I'll be live again tomorrow night, so I'll see you there. Peace out.